Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time on this rainy, stormy Monday night here in Middle Tennessee. No matter the weather, we are here for you, and we're here to talk about the offensive line. Some signings came down earlier today. One signing in particular that has a potential ripple effect on the Titans' offensive line situation, and why it is that I believe your starting group is already in place. We'll work our way through that. We'll talk about the things we feel best about on the offensive line and the things that we feel worst about on the offensive line. Real high-level stuff, as is the custom, but it's worth taking a look at the depth chart, talking about guys who could potentially have their roles, their starting roles in jeopardy, and familiarize yourself with some of the transactions that have been made because you may have forgotten about Leroy Watson or Leroy Watson. I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce the young man's name just yet, but we're getting ready to meet with assistant coaches, and Levis is going to speak for the first time all offseason on Thursday. So we're looking forward to catching up with QB1. Before we get started, need you guys to share this show on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and on Twitch, wherever you get your live stream broadcast this evening. We would appreciate it if you shared it around to all your live streaming friends and compatriots. If you're hanging out on Twitter, please retweet the show in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. And if you're on Facebook Live, you can share. You can share now to public. That's in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. If you are on YouTube or on Twitch, like Tom H., who says, what if when Buck is late, we just get questions with Bert? Well, famously, Bert doesn't want to do anything in front of camera until he absolutely has to. It's a fight for me to get him to do even his Monday night segment because it requires him to wear some level of clothing, although, typically he is without clothes. And two, I've never been late to the show in the history of the show. So I've undid your question time with Bert, your story time with Bert, right out of the gates. Sorry to say. Either way, I'm here so the show can get started. We can go ahead and talk about the offensive line group and work our way through. It's Matt is asking me about the Drake and K-Dot beef. Perhaps I'll give you some rap beef opinions by the end of the show. Let's do it. Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time from the Zen Sports Studios. I'm your host, Buck Rising. If you're new to the broadcast, I'm happy to have you, and I'm proud, as always, to be presented to you by True Math Fitness in the Gulch. Go to truemathfitness.com where your first workout is free. As a Middle Tennessee resident, no workout ever recycled or repeated. Only the best in the business at truemathfitness.com. Two Rivers Ford, the best place, the South's most trusted Ford dealer for a reason. Quality American-made Ford vehicles and award-winning customer service is what they offer you at tworiversford.com. And Zen Sports, where they offer you up to $100 on your no-danger first wager. Get in on the action on all your favorite major sports. Just because the Preds are out of the postseason does not mean that you can't wager on hockey or NBA. Whatever you desire, Zen Sports is there to make it happen for you with the promo code ATOZTN. Lot of offensive line interest with the Tennessee Titans and with Titans fans looking around and saying, okay, did a little bit. I did more than a little bit this offseason. Did a fair amount of work on retooling, rebuilding, renewing, whatever R word you want to use for what the Titans offensive line underwent in the past couple of months. There's been a significant amount of work done. Now, is it going to be perfect? Is it going to be, the league's best offensive line in year one? Probably not, but it went from one of the worst offensive lines in football to at least being semi-competent or having some of the better players acquired in free agency inserted into the starting lineup. So right now, from left to right, it feels like your starting offensive line is in place. And the reason that I say that is because they haven't been, super aggressive pursuing offensive linemen in the post-draft free agency. They have added a lot of different pieces and parts, whether they be starters, depth, swing guys, or whatever. Doesn't mean that they're completely done, but for the most part, I feel like I have a pretty good grasp on who your week one training camp starting O-line is going to be. So just in terms of transactions in total, once we got into the free agency process, you had Lloyd Cushenberry on the offensive line, who was signed to that big deal, the most guaranteed money in the history of the NFL for a center. Lloyd Cushenberry comes to the forefront for the Tennessee Titans. He replaces Aaron Brewer, who we, of course, know how frustrating it was to watch last year. They add Sadiq Charles. They release Andre Dillard. Sadiq Charles, a former LSU Tiger, somebody who was on those Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase teams. Easy enough for me to say. Lloyd Cushenberry, also an LSU Tiger. But Sadiq Charles, who's had some starting experience, been played in a couple of different positions, hasn't really latched on or caught the kind of footing that he needs to be able to capitalize on this. But he is somebody who's going to come in and compete for a job. Then you go through the draft process. Well, before the draft process, they trade for Leroy Watson for a 7th-round pick from the Cleveland Browns, and he is entered into the tackle competition. He joins Nicholas Petit-Frere, Peter Skoronski, Jalen Duncan, and a variety of other Calvin Throckmorton, who was on the roster last year. There's a couple of different holdovers who will be competing for opportunities. And then there's guys like Daniel Brunskill, who are, already saw them be bounced from the starting lineup last year for a guy like Throckmorton, and then ultimately you feel more trusted, or you feel like Brunskill was the more trustworthy option down the stretch, just in terms of knowing the offense, knowing the playbook, being able to execute everything that you wanted. So right now, that's the group that you have to work with. Who ends up being your starting 5 remains to be seen. You do have UDFAs that we have not accounted for just yet, and they, of course, do matter because rookie minicamp is right around the corner. But what I'm going to tell you guys, because Byron Charles asks about the UDFA guard from Texas Tech. We're not going to talk about UDFAs until the team makes it official. Not that the reporting isn't out there. That's, there's been names all over the place for the past, what are we talking about, 8 or 9 days since the draft officially concluded. But in the interim, until we have the official list, I don't want to bounce all over the place with a bunch of UDFAs. So we'll probably have that in its entirety by the end of the week. But let's just work with what we've got right now. And of course, then the draft, J.C. Latham is who they bring in. Am I going to be at rookie minicamp? Yeah, I'm at everything. What do you mean, Brian? It's my job. It's my job. I'm a Tennessee Titans reporter. Now, I can't get to every practice every day during the week because the radio show, the time slot is typically right in the middle of the availability, but that's why we got Lucas a promotion and hired Jackson to be on the show so that now I can do the radio show from the facility if I so choose. And I bet, I sent a couple of text messages today about who we might have on the radio show Thursday or Friday. And I would bet that you would expect, or you should expect, me to do some live interviews from Titans rookie minicamp later this week. Brian says sometimes they shut off media. That's why I asked. Well, yeah, but they always have to make some media availability to us. This is it's funny because, for the most part, fan interest, well, not for the most part. Fan interest is what gets these guys paid. Fan interest in watching these things on television, media rights, but the media rights money is actually where they get their contracts from, or where they get the finances for the contracts from. And so, yeah, they're required to allow us into each phase throughout the course of the week. They just don't have to make all 3 days. So they're going to have Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We're going to get Thursday, Friday, but not Saturday. So some of the days are closed off, but not all of the days because they're required. Because the media rights are how they get paid, basically. Even though, I think you could probably look at a couple of different financial situations, but the television rights are the bulk of the money that the NFL has. So yeah, because the media is how these guys get exposure and how you guys consume it. We have to. They are forced to have us attend practice on a regular basis. So there are some free agent options out there that they can continue to pursue, but one of them that is not going to be available is Andrus Peat, the former New Orleans Saint, primarily a guard in his career there, but now having played a left tackle. Jim MT says, "Are you going to watch any Titans games this year?" Well, if it's gone the way the last 2 seasons have, no, I prefer to cover my eyes and hope that there's something better on the television in the press box, which of course is a failing proposition because there's only one game that I get to watch on Sundays on a regular basis. So I'm hoping that they at least are entertaining, because the last 2 years have made me actively want to cover my eyes. But nonetheless, we soldier on. Offensive line room is currently, pretty deep. There's a lot of different options that have been added into the mix. Doesn't mean that they'll be outright better, but you feel better about the trajectory, in particular the left side, right? You've got now J.C. Latham, Peter Skoronski, and Lloyd Cushenberry, which is a hell of a difference between that and Andre Dillard, Skoronski coming off an appendectomy, and 150-pound Aaron Brewer. So the question that I'm going to ask you guys this is, before we talk about UDFAs, or before we see what they might do in post-draft free agency, I don't expect them to be super aggressive about the offensive line market. They want a wide receiver. They want another wide receiver, which is bad damn news for Treylon Burks. Treylon Burks is going to be I would imagine that Treylon Burks is not long for the Tennessee Titans roster. I would imagine that he makes it through training camp this year and is probably on the 53-man heading into 2024. Well, I don't think it's going to be much longer than that, because it's not just Tyler Boyd that they're interested in moving Burks to the bench for. Zay Jones is somebody who's coming in, and I don't think that's to just have him sit. So looking at the wide receivers, that's the place that they've been most aggressive in right now. But the offensive line is still something that they could continue to add pieces and parts for. And of course, they still have resources to work with. They did sign Marlon Davidson, a defensive lineman, to this today, which will cut into their cap space just slightly, but you still have about $24 million with which to work. So what's the thing that you feel best about on the Titans offensive line group right now? It's your Two Rivers Ford Take. It's presented by Two Rivers Ford, quality American-made Ford vehicles and award-winning customer service. Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet, or online at tworiversford.com, the South's most trusted Ford dealer. There's a lot of different places that you can look. And like I said, the left side is going to be pretty different, significantly different if you're working from Cushenberry out to the left. The right side could very well be the same offensive line group, and that does not make you feel good at all. Shizzy says, do you feel better about the right side? No, I think the right side, so here's what I think the Titans offensive line is going to look like week 1 of training camp. I think it's going to be Latham, provided that nobody gets hurt, obviously. Latham, Skoronski, Cushenberry. I think Brunskill is going to be in there to start. And then I think NPF is probably going to be your week 1 training camp starting right tackle. And you hope to the football gods that the two of those guys on the right side get beaten out to the point where they are moved into depth roles. I feel like shit about the right side. It's not just, I don't know. Bill Callahan can fix this and make me feel, infinitely better, just because he's offensive line genius and he can work his magic, and he can go above and beyond to make sure that they are at least semi-competent offensive linemen at this point. And, maybe they're salvageable. We haven't even talked about Dylan Radins. Dylan Radins also on the roster. Dylan Radins in a contract year. So I'm sure Dylan Radins is very, very happy to see somebody like Bill Callahan, because if anybody can try and get anything salvageable out of the former Titan second-round pick, it's going to be O-line Jesus. But to answer Shizzy's question, do I feel better about the right side? No, I feel like hell about the right side, because it's still the same two players that were not good in a smaller sample size for NPF, a much larger sample size for Daniel Brunskill. I have no interest in seeing those guys play unless it's due to injury. So David Lee says Brunskill was solid. Rishi says Brunskill was okay. Well, and listen, not that the last coaching staff's word is gospel, but do you guys forget that he got benched for Calvin Throckmorton? And I know that Calvin Throckmorton sounds like a, Madden creative player that you guys probably think that I just made up, but that's a thing. Brunskill got benched, so he wasn't solid. He wasn't okay. I know PFF graded him out as one of their better offensive linemen, but he still played like shit, and he's been largely a reserve, best used as a reserve at multiple positions across his career. He has value. I don't want to say that Daniel Brunskill is, completely useless to the football team, because he's a very smart guy. He knows the playbook. He can put guys in position to succeed, but he's just not very talented. And he can't hold up very well. And this has been proven across multiple stints with multiple teams, and the Titans being the latest. Daniel Brunskill is not a starting caliber offensive lineman. He is best as a reserve right now. So he was battling injuries, correct, says David Lee. They're all battling injuries. Yes, every one of them is battling injuries. All of them are hurt all of the time on the offensive line in particular. So I don't, if you're out there and you play, you're expected to produce, just like Jeff, right? Jeff, at the end of the 2022 season, getting his ankle shot up with God knows what to try to finish the year, trying to cash in on a contract, whatever. Edward Hayford says he was good at San Francisco. No, that's not true at all. He's always been a stopgap starter. He's never been a good player. You guys are very, very misguided about what you think Daniel Brunskill is, or you are so used to watching shit offensive line play that Daniel Brunskill, even looking like a replacement level backup, has gotten you excited enough about the idea of Brunskill being better. Now, can he improve because he's playing alongside better players in Lloyd Cushenberry? Certainly. He can be much better just based on competency around him. Brewer made life harder on a lot of people. Aaron Brewer's not a bad football player, but there's just so much that his size limits what you're able to do. Offensive linemen don't make it to the open market if they're worth a damn. And Daniel Brunskill didn't even get Andre Dillard money, right? Andre Dillard, who's the worst left tackle in football. Andre Dillard, who got paid again. Andre Dillard, who got paid again, which tells you how the league is so desperate about the offensive line situation. You guys cannot project just because a player played a lot of football for you doesn't mean that they're good. Now, Brunskill is a good addition because he can play all 5 positions. He may not play them well, but he can play all 5 of them, which is something that you absolutely have to have. A swing guard, a swing tackle, somebody who can be a backup center. I think Brunskill can be a backup center in a perfect world, and perhaps they'll test out some of these UDFAs who are athletic enough to play center. But there's a lot to like about the Tennessee Titans offensive line on the left side, which is why the best addition that I think, the thing that I feel best about, is the player that I'm going to show you, or I'm going to play you some clips from his press conference here in just a second. First and foremost, probably, I think their most important free agent acquisition, more important than Snead, more important than Ridley. I think Lloyd Cushenberry is the most important addition to the football team this year.
Biggest factor of Bill Callahan. His resume speaks for itself. Coached a lot of great guys. Heard a lot of great things about him. So, and I think it's a good opportunity for me to continue to grow my game and take that next step as a player.
So that's Lloyd Cushenberry speaking at his introductory press conference about the biggest factor in his signing. You're going to hear from him about getting better every year here in just a second, right after I remind you that the Primetime program is presented by Zen Sports. Download the Zen Sports app. Plug in the promo code ATOZTN. Get up to $100 on your no danger first wager, which means if your bet loses, you'll be reimbursed for the amount of your bet up to $100. They also have the VIP program that is invite only at Zen Sports. So if you feel like your Zen Sports play qualifies for VIP consideration, you can check out all the great comps, concerts, and sportsbook bonuses that you get at zensports.com/VIP. Zen Sports, where betting just got better. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line, 1-800-889-9789. Terms and conditions do apply. No danger wager limited to plus 500 odds to qualify. Boosted odds are derived from equivalent parlay bets offered in Tennessee. Must be 21 plus and in Tennessee to bet at Zen Sports. So what's the thing that you feel best about on the offensive line? For me, Lloyd Cushenberry is the thing. Before Skoronski, before Latham, before anything, besides Bill Callahan, everything not named Bill Callahan, Lloyd Cushenberry is the best acquisition that this team made in the offseason.
I think we just mentioned Coach Munchak. I feel like coming in, he gave me a great foundation. It helped me lay a great foundation of fundamentals. I feel like since that point, like I said, I've struggled my rookie year, but every year I've gotten better. Every year I've taken a step. And that's what I want to continue to do, take a bigger step each year. But every single year I've gotten better, man, and started off with a good foundation.
He was a first-time full-term starter as a rookie in the COVID year, and he's been hugely available. He's been hugely effective. He's particularly good in pass protection, and he was the best center that was available on the free agent market. He's arguably the best center in football right now. So we'll see what happens with Lloyd Cushenberry. He's got a 4-year deal. He's got $25 million guaranteed on that deal. It was a really, really big pickup for the Tennessee Titans to make. And in fact, if you're listening to the Primetime Show, if you're watching the Primetime Show, keep an eye out for the 3-hour live show that I did with Greg Cosell and Titans GM Rand Carthon, because Rand and I talked about a text that I sent the general manager of the Tennessee Titans, specifically about Lloyd Cushenberry. And I don't think it impacted the signing of him too much, but it's just a little nugget in there for you to hear about your free agent center and your general manager and the path to pursue these guys that he set out and his staff set out on to go ahead and target a bunch of players who they think could immediately make this football team better. So there's no disputing that Lloyd Cushenberry is the thing that I feel best about, not named Bill Callahan, on the Titans starting offensive line group. So again, left to right, I think it's Latham, Skoronski, Cushenberry, Brunskill, and NPF to start training camp. If the last two guys get beat out of their positions, that is a good thing. You want to continue to push the bad players further down the depth chart, or the less good players further down the depth chart, although NPF, I think, is just flatly bad. It makes me want to ask you guys the question, what is the thing that you feel worst about with the starting Titans offensive line group? On Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch, you guys let me know in the comment section, and we'll talk about it together. Right after I remind you that the Primetime program is presented by the great people at TrueMav Fitness in the Gulch. The first workout is free for you as a Middle Tennessee resident at TrueMav Fitness. No workout ever recycled or repeated. They're there to help you maximize your fitness goals. Personal training, group fitness classes, an awesome membership option or a variety of membership options for you to be able to work out in their open gym facility as you please whenever you want. TrueMav Fitness is the best, the most convenient, and they are offering you your first workout free as a Middle Tennessee resident at TrueMavFitness.com. If you go on Fridays, you may even see me at TrueMav, because Friday mornings is my TrueMav day. Always enjoy getting a quick workout in with Worth Campbell, who is a diehard Titans fan and who is as excited as the center signing as many of you. Curator says he cannot wait for the live show to come out. Yeah, if you're not already subscribed to 1045 The Zone's YouTube channel, you should do that right now if you're watching on YouTube. And in fact, Bert, let's drop the install Spotify link in the comment section if you would be so kind, for people, because you can also subscribe to the podcast version. We're probably going to put the live show out in two parts. We are having a meeting tomorrow about how that's going to be distributed, but at least the first part of the live show will be available in this podcast feed on Wednesday. And of course, if you don't have Spotify and you prefer Apple Podcasts, the install with Greg Cosell is also available to you via Apple Podcasts too. So what's the thing that you feel worst about on the Titans starting offensive line group? Let me know. NPF says the real cricket. Jacob Regis is the right side. Jack Longley getting more specific. He says NPF. Billy Jones is down on the idea of Brunskill starting in year 2. Kevin Hamilton says, is Raiden an option at right tackle, or is he better suited at guard? He's going to compete at guard, is what Brian Callahan told us. It's been about a month ago since we talked to him about Dylan Radins. And I'm sure we're going to speak to Bill Callahan for the first time on Friday. And so I'm sure there's going to be a lot of, I don't know how much Bill Callahan is going to give us, but we're going to throw a lot of questions at this man about Radins, about NPF, about Latham, and what have you. Radins is going to compete at guard, though, if he does play a little tackle, it's because of injury. Billy says he's tired of watching Radins struggle. Chris Johnson said that Burks could be a tight end, blew me away. What's that mean, Bert? Why'd you star it? Oh, you didn't star it? It's just got a star next to it.
I did. It's just goofy. Like, who the hell said that?
Oh, yeah. No, that's not something that Matt Harmon said. We're going to talk about what Matt Harmon said on Ramon, Kayla, and Will tomorrow on the radio show, but it's nothing to do with tight end, right?
Right. Yeah. As far as I understand.
Okay, excellent. We'll see shirtless Bert again. For those of you who are guessing what shirt color he was wearing, for those of you who guessed no shirt, you are correct. You win, more Bert at the end of the show. But Chris Johnson says that Burks could be a tight end, blew me away. Literally nobody has said that. So I don't know where you're getting that, other than your aunt on Facebook, crazy aunt on Facebook, who probably posted some fake news article that, is being overconsumed. So don't know where it came from. Haven't heard that. Not an option. Burke's not going to be a tight end. Anyway, let's keep it moving. What is the thing that you feel worst about? Thing I feel worst about, thing I'm most scared of, is NPF being the best available option at right tackle and continuing to struggle as mightily as he has in his first, I'm not even going to say a season and a half, because injury and gambling cost him basically his second season. Result that you guys wanted, but how did it feel to get back out there once you got the opportunity?
I was blessed. I got an opportunity I've been here for a few weeks, and I got an opportunity to get back onto the field. It wasn't good enough today. I feel like there's a lot that I need to improve on with my first day back onto the field playing games. But, we got a bye week next week, and I got to get better, got to prepare better, I got to work better, and I got to become a better football player. So,
what happened on the penalty?
I just jumped outside. I just need to be more accountable for myself, and the snap count, that's on me.
I meant on the illegal formation when you came in.
They said that I think I was covering the tight end. I just need to understand the illegal formation, be able to understand the procedure on that, be able to know not to cover him. It was just a mix-up that I just needed to work on, and we'll get it fixed, and we try to do better.
You guys talked about that during the week? Cover, uncover, those details?
I mean, we talk about everything, so we always talk about making sure that we're always legal, making sure that we always know what wide receivers are on, what wide receivers are off, and stuff like that. So that's just something that I take accountability for, and I just got to be better for.
What did they tell you when you were getting ready to go in?
Hey, just strap up, get ready to go. I mean, you got to be ready to go whenever your number's called. That's how our team is. That's how football is. It's always next man up if there's a situation, and then being able to compete at your very best. I feel like I need to be better today, and I need to work harder, but that's what happened.
I feel like.
So that is Nicholas Petit Frere. That was in London when I had to go back and look through my Twitter timeline to find the last time I talked to NPF. And then, of course, he didn't get better because he, after the bye week, was injured in the Pittsburgh Steelers game and was after that done for the rest of the regular season. I believe it was a shoulder injury for NPF that shut him down for the year. I would not have any interest in seeing that guy start for me if I was you. As somebody who is going to watch your football games one way or the other, whether I want to watch NPF play or not, I would expect to see him at some point because offensive linemen are going to get hurt. Reserve guys are going to get put into the lineup. And on an NPF growth curve note, there is precious little to make me feel like he is going to be the guy to go out there and win that job, go out there and take that job. Now, he may get that job because they don't have anybody better. And that in and of itself is concerning. But there was only so much they were going to be able to do in this offseason. They have done quite a bit. They're not going to be able to fix all of it. And, in a perfect world, NPF would be like Burks, forced further and further down the depth chart to make sure that they have the more reliable players, the better players available up front. So that is going to be something to keep an eye on as rookie minicamp gets underway this week, as a matter of fact. Levis and Callahan are going to speak to us on Thursday. The assistants and the rookies are going to speak to us on Friday, and we'll have more information for you then. We're probably not – well, I guess we'll do a 615 sessions on Friday after we speak with Bill Callahan, because I just realized you guys aren't going to hear from me on primetime until Sunday night at that point. So on the Friday 615 sessions podcast, I will have reaction to what the assistant coaches had to say, and that'll be good. All right. We'll welcome in Bert for In Case You Missed It, right after I remind you that the primetime program is presented by the Ashton Real Estate Group of RE/MAX Advantage. GaryAshton.com. Don't sell without the intel. The intel edge you need to succeed can only be found at GaryAshton.com. They're the official real estate agent of A to Z Sports Prime Time. They are also the official real estate agent of the Nashville Predators, who unfortunately had their season come to a, I don't want to say an underwhelming end, because they shouldn't have been in the playoffs in the first place, but they did make the playoffs to their credit, and we'll see what they're able to do. The official real estate agent of the Preds and me is GaryAshton.com. So, Bert, what do we got this week for In Case You Missed It? Is it having to do, you're getting rave reviews from your performance at the live show with Rand Carthon. I'm not going to spoil the bit for the audience who hasn't seen it just yet on the internet or will watch it on Wednesday, but you've received nothing but applause, which means it's time to humble you.
Is there anything that you'd like to say to me?
Yeah, what do you want to talk about for In Case You Missed It?
You don't even want to tell me what a good job I did?
No, I didn't. No, I don't think.
Damn it!
I don't think I care to. No.
Come on! I feel like, you ever seen Scrubs before? I feel like JD and you're Dr. Cox. Like no matter what I do, I'm always going to get the bad end of the apple.
Well, why don't you just get it moving, newbie, and we can move on with our day.
All right.
You're just going to gloss over my scrubs callback. I hit you with a newbie. You're just going to ignore it. Useless. This is why you can't have nice things. This is why you don't get compliments. I try to do a thing with you, and you screw it up. What? Which defensive player stands to benefit most from the coaching change? Poipol Neupel. Bert, I know you're laughing as hard at that as I am.
I am laughing at that as hard as you
I
are.
don't like that you just have that on hand to pull up at your whim. I don't like that at all.
Did you get to watch the Tom Brady roast?
I did. I watched it live last night. Did you?
It was. I had to watch it tonight because I got to wake up super early, so I got to watch a piece of it. But it was nice because you never have anything to watch on TV anymore. So came home, watched the rest of it. Very impressed. Usually when people say this is the best anything, this is the best Muppets movie, this is the best anything, it's always hyperbole. This truly might have been one of the best roasts of all time. From star power, from jokes, pacing, writing, everything. In my opinion, was great. Now, there are a lot smarter people than me that could poke fun in it. But what I will not have are people being upset at the direction of most of the jokes. I've seen a lot of people upset that a lot of things were rude or some things were insensitive. Well, it's not called the light searing of Tom Brady. It is the roast of Tom Brady. I don't know if you guys ever seen Dean Martin or even the old Comedy Central roast. They don't hold back. It's supposed to hurt people's feelings. They're not making fun of you, goober. Laugh at these other people's pain. It's the whole point of it.
The only thing that I saw, Tom Brady's best joke was a 9/11 joke, which I did not expect at all.
I wasn't going to say it, but yeah.
Tom Brady, why not? If Tom Brady made the 9/11 joke, why can't I say that Tom Brady made a 9/11 joke?
He's the greatest of all time. He probably gets allowed to make. It's like the Spider-Man rule. He gets one 9/11 joke.
Well, if it was a good 9/11 joke, then I don't want to be the person that gets out there and says I don't want to be the person that gets out there and says, well, how soon is too soon to start making 9/11 jokes? But Tom Brady did it. So Tom Brady's 9/11 joke was the best joke that he told. The Aaron Hernandez jokes were the thing that probably that was the thing, not even the Giselle stuff, because you knew the Giselle stuff was coming. As soon as I want to say it was it Nikki Glazer or no, it was who's the roast master? Jeff Ross. Jeff Ross came out on the stage in an O.J. Simpson jersey, said, "I just came from hell, Patriots fans." Aaron Hernandez says hi, and I said, "Oh, we are going there, aren't we?" And even Brady made the Aaron Hernandez murdering jokes. It was laugh out loud funny, and it's even more funny, Bert. Before we get to whatever video that you brought us for, in case you missed it, it's even funnier because, like, do you remember Norm Macdonald at the ESPYs? Norm Macdonald, who's the last funny ESPYs host that we've had, going at the athletes and then panning the camera to the athletes who are not used to getting made fun of that way and looking around and that never, ever again was the ESPYs going to like work blue a little bit. You could tell some of Tom Brady's teammates who were not going to be speaking were looking around like I saw Levante David make a couple of faces throughout the course of that. When Kevin Hart's or people are making 3/5 of a person's joke at Kevin Hart. God, old school racism.
Personally didn't laugh at that one, if anyone was wondering. I thought my favorite Tom Brady joke was when they said, when someone said an old white Bronco was coming, I thought we would get to see, I wanted him to say O.J. Simpson so bad, but he said a football legend. So Tom Brady's still taking the sidestep to get out of the O.J. Like that was too soon for Tom Brady, I guess.
You know what? I second only to the, and I'm gonna repeat it, so it's not me saying it, so I'm not gonna get in trouble. But Tom Brady,
I don't know. We didn't prep this.
Tom Brady also getting out there and saying, "Fuck Colts fans. Colts are just Broncos that don't fuck," is the thing that made me die. I slumped out of. I slowed like New York's mom from I Love New York, the Flavor Flav show. I just kind of sunk down in my chair cackling at that. That was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. I said it. repeating Tom Brady, so I can't get in trouble. Continue with your segment.
I had a buddy get in a lot of trouble for doing that in karaoke one time. I wouldn't swing for the fences every time you do that. But Jeff Ross, fantastic night as roast master. He's a classic. He's a veteran. This dude's been through it. Any great roast, him, Geraldo's not here anymore, but Jeff Ross was on with Rich Eisen. And you can tell how much this takes out of people. And it's not just all the drugs and alcohol that were flowing that night.
By the way, Belichick staying on the dais too, like sitting down. That was awesome. That was. Did he?
Whereas Peyton, a lot of people won't stay.
Yeah.
They figure they're going to get roasted someday, so let me save it. But Coach Belichick, I got to give him credit. And I gave him my theme music. I normally come out to the Imperial March, Star Wars, the Darth Vader theme. But my producer, Casey's like, if you're the Hellfire entrance, can Coach Belichick, can he come out to the Darth Vader music? And it was perfect.
I love it. All right, so before I let you go on the rest of your day, this is the way it is in sports too. What's next? What do you think? What's the future?
Next,
what do you think?
guess I'm gonna have to make some tour dates now. I'm gonna do Take a Banana for the Ride. I got some dates coming up in North Carolina, South Carolina.
Excellent.
I got a show in LA this week, but it's sold out. Kevin plugged it a couple times.
Is it really in the Hollywood Cemetery? He said that. Like he said,
yeah.
Is that really where it is?
Yeah, pretty great, right?
I think people thought that was a joke at first.
I know. He's like, no, that's for real.
Yeah.
And then actually think there's going to be more stars at that than there were at the roast, even though there were so many stars at the roast.
And then what's next for the roast? What do you got? What are your
Well, I just woke up. I did it last night. What the hell are you talking about? What are you kidding me? Give me a day. The greatest roast of all time. What's next?
It was. By the way, it really was, man.
Tom Brady wins his 7th Super Bowl ring. Do you call him the next morning and go, how are your plans?
We actually do that. Yes, we do that. That actually happens in sports. We really do. What do you think about a repeat? No question that's a question. Jeff?
How hard these are. I feel like I helped produce the Super Bowl halftime show and performed in it on the same day. It was like heavy lifting. If you think this is easy, getting these egos all into one room at the same time with all this it was a lot, man. I feel like I feel so good about it. I needed to laugh like that. I hadn't laughed like that in a long time. Like I feel like it's like a vaccine for your brain. It's like it's medicinal. I was laughing so hard.
Yeah, Susie and I said that on the way home. We were like, that was brilliant. That was great. You know, we both love you dearly, and we root for you, and you crushed it, and your team crushed it, and the night was incredible, and Netflix should be so over the moon. It was trending all over the place. It was
How does Rich Eisen be getting these guests, man? He's on the Roku channel, dude. How the hell is he getting Jeff Ross the day after?
He lives in L.A. He was at the roast. He was probably Tom Brady does this. He goes on Tom Brady's podcast. Rich Eisen is just as famous as Jeff Ross.
God, I hate that that's close to being true.
That's not Jeff Ross. Rich Eisen is probably more famous than Jeff Ross.
We'll see. I'll do some research in the break. Who's the next athlete that should be roasted, and why is it LeBron?
Ooh, LeBron. I don't think LeBron would do it.
It would. He has some of the funniest people. You get Steph. You get everybody that either beat him in the playoffs or he beat. It's such a good room.
Bert,
I don't know if he would do it. You're right.
I was honestly shocked that Brady did. I could not believe that Brady did, because you're just walking into a knife fight with Giselle jokes. Like, it's one thing to get, the deflate gate and, Aaron Hernandez, you had a murderer in the huddle. It's another thing to be talking about a jiu-jitsu trainer sleeping with your wife and there being bruises left on her ass from practice. Like,
those are the only bruises. Those are the only bruises
that she's sustaining, is the one on her tush. Okay, like that is that is, and that was like one of the kinder ones. That was one of the that was one of the least sexual ones that was lobbed at him. Woof! I could not believe that Tom Brady did it. I could not believe that Bill Belichick did it. I honestly think that the roast of Belichick would be great. But like Nick Saban up there, I think Saban and crush.
Saban would be good.
You know, honestly, that's who they should do. Saban, now that he's a media guy, not an athlete, obviously, but a sports figure. I think the roast of Nick Saban would be excellent.
Works for me. When are we doing yours?
They tried to do it last year, and I wouldn't let them for my 30th birthday. No roast of Buck Rising for the foreseeable future. They
told me I was the only funny person there, and I couldn't do a full hour.
Get off the screen. That's in case you missed it for tonight. I'm laughing at me. I'm not laughing at Bert. He's not that funny. All right. That's going to do it for us tonight. We appreciate you guys hanging out. Join us from 10 to 1 on 104.5 The Zone tomorrow. We're going to be talking more about the Titans free agent pursuits. We'll be getting you ready for rookie minicamp with we're going to probably peel through the UDFAs tomorrow. I expect we'll have a full publicized. I'm Sean Connery now. A full publicized list tomorrow so we can work our way through the UDFAs then, and that'll be a great time. So subscribe to 104.5 The Zone on YouTube where you can watch the radio show, and make sure you like the video on the way out the door. And I'll see you guys tomorrow night on A to Z Sports Prime Time. Have a great rest of your evening.
Go home! Go home! Go home! You're embarrassing Nashville! Go home!